And Sean is back. Hey, Sean. With the nice head.
Thanks.
Hey.
From Tesla Owners US, and today we have Sean here again. But this time it should be much easier because we want to introduce the Model 3 lithium-ion battery, right?
That's
so
right.
can you say something about, after this one?
I pressed and say, I went and said.
All right, so we give you some more technical information about the battery itself, and Sean will do that.
Yeah. So as you'll see in this chart, we're going to pull up and show you. We did a lot of testing, and this is just like some averages, and it compares a Model S battery with a Model 3 battery, both OEM, and then comparing to those the OMU lithium battery. And so what you will see is not only do we get a longer lasting battery in terms of just raw capacity when you say in amp hours, but also throughout the entire test period, you're also going to be operating at a higher voltage. So there's far less voltage sag. So for things like stereo systems and subwoofers, you're not going to experience the voltage sag that tends to draw the power down and not give you as much output. You're going to actually have a higher operating voltage throughout the entire time with this battery.
Yeah, so there was always something what I could not understand, why Tesla has 2170 batteries. These are 4 volt each battery, and 3 of them together are 12 volt, and then they are put them, yes.
Yeah, so they're 3.7 volts per cell. So 3 of them together gives you 11.
No, this is for the 18650, right? Or?
Yeah, it's the same.
It's the same.
Same chemistry, just more capacity with the 2700s.
Okay,
yeah,
so
now
3.7.
It's 3.7. 4.2 is when it's fully charged. So when it's at 100%, like totally charged up to the max, then it is 4.2. But at that point, you would only have 12.6 volts, but on a fully charged battery. So with the lead acid fully charged, you're closer to 14 volts, and then with our lithiums fully charged, about 14 volts. So even using those battery cells, it wouldn't work because throughout the operating range, you would end up way outside of the spec.
So and your Model 3 battery, the lithium polymer, is that?
It's lithium ion.
Lithium ion battery for the Model 3. So this has also 36 amp hours, or how much?
We test around 45 amp hours, and
45 amp hours.
That's on a 10 amp test.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of an aggressive test for these batteries.
And what is the standard battery the Model 3 has?
On the similar test, the Model 3 OEM battery will get anywhere between 30 to 36 amp hours.
Yeah. Okay.
So we get more capacity, but not only do we get the more capacity, but throughout that test, we're also getting more power. So we get more capacity, but also more power output, which you'll see as the difference in voltage. So when you look at the lead acid curve, you'll see the lithium curve sits higher, and all that difference is all equals more power.
Yeah. So, and by the way, the battery what I had last time for the Model X, I turned that back in and got a new battery of same type for it.
From Tesla?
From Tesla. And they said, it's going to happen here in Arizona every 1.5 years, every 1 or 1.5 years.
Yeah.
So every 1.5 years, you have to get a new battery. And maybe they are nice and give it to you at
well, you're under warranty.
When you're under warranty. When you're under warranty anyway, right? The first 4 years, but they are nice, and you bring it into service, and they exchange the battery for you, or you are out of luck, and the battery bulks up, and then the battery shuts down, the 12 volt battery, and the whole system shuts down.
Yeah.
And that is not convenient, guys, because then you got stuck on the road with the 12 volt battery not working, whereby you have about 100 kilowatt or 80 kilowatt in your battery package, right? And only the 12 volt battery, that's the one that's failing. So in Arizona, it's so hot here, it happens a lot.
Yeah. And we actually, we've sold batteries to folks in, I think it was Turkey. They bought a number of batteries, and they said that the Tesla they won't sell it to them there. I guess they don't have service centers in Turkey or something like that. And so they actually, they're failing constantly, just like we see, but they don't have access, and so
they don't have access, and then they take your batteries because Tesla doesn't service them.
That's right. Even if it's a brand new car.
Yeah. This is funny. Yeah, okay, we want to show you the video about how easy it is, and this time it's really easy, for the Model 3 to change the battery to lithium-ion.
That's
All right?
right.
Let's watch
the
it.
first thing what you want to do when you start, that you want to shut down the battery. So let's go in here
This is
and
just like in the Model X and the Model.
okay. Well, the first thing we open the frunk.
So you open the front, and then you're going to press your vehicle icon on the bottom left, safety and security, power off. It'll ask if you're sure. You say yes.
Powering off.
And it'll stay powered off until you push the brake pedal.
Okay.
All right. So this one's very simple. This top panel here is the only thing we have to remove on these vehicles, and they just unclip. So you can come into the back corner and just work your way around. And then it's off.
And then you have to do nothing else because you see already the battery here, right?
Yep. So we'll also remove this air intake, which just has the same thing. It's 4 plastic clips that just pull straight up.
Ah, that's the air intake for the air conditioning and
Yeah.
air system. Yeah.
So that comes up pretty easy. And now you've got 12-volt battery staring at you right here. So you'll just need a 10 millimeter wrench or socket wrench or however, but just gonna loosen this.
Wrench.
So this plate in the top center is all that holds the battery down.
Okay, gonna blend a little bit more batter in. Come a little closer.
So once you've gotten it loose enough, you can actually just twist it off to the side, and then it'll come out.
So, and at disconnect, first the negative off, right? That's what we
Yeah.
have to say.
Yeah, so first we'll take the negative side off.
So there's no connection to the chassis from the battery anymore. And now you should be fine with positive. Now this battery is really accessible now.
Yeah.
But the other batteries
You
were
remember the original
hidden.
Model S?
The
that
original
one's the
Model
worst.
S, this was the worst.
Then you've got the Model X, which is pretty tough. And then the Model S, the later Model S, that one's not so bad. It's still a lot more difficult than this. And then they finally got it down to just as easy as most cars. Pop the hood, remove a couple things, there it is. On this side, you've got the breather vent, so you'll want to take that off because these lead acid batteries they off gas, so they have to put a breather tube, which you don't need on the lithium, and so you can
Is that
actually
a
just
deep
take that
cycle
off.
or is that not a deep cycle?
These are not AGM. I don't know if the plate, so thicker plates versus thinner plates, I'm not sure, which is what defines whether it's a deep cycle or not. Hopefully they're deep cycle, but on Atlas BX, I looked at the specs and they don't really call out this particular, the Atlas BX part number, they don't call it out as a deep cycle. They just call it out as a flooded lead acid battery.
All right, so comparison to those two batteries. Wait a second. Same thing as we always do. We put the battery on it and this is the biggest battery ever with 28 pounds. So even higher than the Model S battery.
Yeah,
So
they're the biggest ones.
And now we compare this to the Model 3 batteries from Sean from onmove.com and place it on and then going on top. And this is 11.5 pounds, about the same weight as the Model X battery.
Yeah.
The difference is because, you know, we have 6,000 pounds and you are saving 15 pounds. It's not a difference, but if you have just, I don't know, how much is that?
3,500,
3,000, 3,500 pounds, and you are saving 20 pounds, almost, or 17 pounds. So now that's the battery, what we're placing in there.
So if you've ordered your battery and it's for a Model X or for a Model 3, in either case, you're going to end up receiving a couple of lead adapters. And these are really important because they make the terminal diameter the correct diameter for these, for your factory connections. And also they make it so that the factory connections are going to lead, which is the spec for the OEM battery. As you saw on the stock battery, they're lead posts. So having these adapters provides us with lead post as well. So the contact is still lead with the stock connectors, with the stock clamp rings. Some people will have asked about the material properties and the differences between lead and the brass, and how that using dissimilar metals can lead to issues when you're talking about long-term corrosion. The reason that that's a concern is especially in house wiring, and so that's where a lot of people their understanding comes from. And in house wiring, the traditional challenge is aluminum and copper, because you have copper wiring, you have aluminum wiring. When you have copper and aluminum, galvanically they're very different, and so you do see corrosion over a long period of time. With these materials, we're actually with lead. This is pure lead, and this is brass. And so with brass and pure lead, you actually have a really small galvanic difference. They're more galvanically similar than other materials would be. And so even after a very long time, this lead contact with the brass is going to be just fine. And so it can go for about 10 years before there's really going to be any concern there. And I would suggest probably even longer.
That's why we expect the battery to last.
So we put these lead spacers on here. So that's going to allow us to adapt, and that's for both the Model 3 and for the Model X.
Okay.
So the installation's really simple. It's just the reverse. There's a handle here, so you can just slide it back in the same spot. You've got the same hold down.
So you have to angle it in. Yeah. And then you have to squeeze it over.
Yeah, you might have to loosen it a little bit to get both sides under. Okay, now they're both, so you want them both to be kind of flush and straight. Then go ahead and tighten it down. You get it nice and tight. You'll see the battery is not going to shift anywhere. Then you know you're good. Then you're going to put your terminals on, and we'll start with the positive and then put the negative terminal on.
So positive terminal first during
it.
install.
Yep, and you're going to want to push it down as much as you can. Wiggle it back and forth a bit.
You can loosen it a little bit.
Yeah, you can loosen the connector. And then once you've got that down as flush as you can to the top of the battery, go ahead and tighten it up. And then cover it up. And we're going to do the same thing on the negative side. So when you making your second connection to the battery, if there's some charge in the vehicle wiring, or you didn't do the power off, it's possible that when you make that second connection, you could get a little bit of a spark. It's not a huge deal. I mean, if it's a huge spark, and you can assess if there's a problem, but just a little bit of a spark between the contacts is not a big deal. There's nothing to be overly concerned about in that case. You just go ahead and install it all the way. Again, same thing. I'm going to loosen it up a little bit more so I can really get this terminal or this clamp down low. And then we tighten it up. And then when you're making the second connection, of course, you want to be careful not to cross over and hit the positive, but you should have the rubber cap on the positive anyway, so it should be really difficult to have a problem there.
And then tighten the top as well.
Yeah, there we go. That's it. Now we're just gonna put everything back in place.
First the air intake cover.
4 clips. Just push in. And then your trim cover. So there's no clips along the back side. They're all across the front here. So as you're going, just make sure you go nice and firm across the front. And that's it.
Okay, now we can close the hood
That's it.
and do a test drive. And I say thank you again, Sean. We're gonna look inside, press the brake button, and it should come up again. Was the battery a little bit charged, or was it not? Was it a little bit charged?
They're
probably?
all gonna ship with somewhere between 50 and 75% charge. So they're all ready to go. You don't need to charge the batteries before you install them or anything like that.
Okay, good. Then let's go inside. Okay, here we are, and we're doing a test drive now. And you already pressed the brake, right?
I already pressed
So you already pressed the brake,
and so it all came to life.
and it came to life. Nothing to complain. First test drive. Okay, let's get to a little test drive around the block. Yeah, seems to be everything functioning. No problem.
No, you won't have any problems.
And that's the camera. Oh.
Do you have the subwoofer in this car? So with the subwoofer, you definitely notice a difference in your sound. I think anyone with like a high performance sound system, especially, should really. This is a great upgrade for their vehicle just for the sound performance.
Okay.
If nothing else.
So let's change the settings and put a little bass in there, then see what we can play. Here are the settings, and on tone you change that to the bass.
Yeah, tone. You
Yeah.
can turn the bass up.
Yeah.
Balance.
Put it on the middle, balanced. Okay.
Okay.
And then we need to find a bassy song. Not a bossy song, a bassy song.
Oh, it's good.
It has a subwoofer in it.
I think so.
That's the proof! And I cannot play that song longer, otherwise I'm violating copyrights. But that should do it. And the advantage is that it can pull a whole bunch of amperage, what is needed for the sound system.
Yeah, especially that subwoofer when it's hitting bass.
Yes, and that is the cool thing, because it does not fade on the bass with the lead acid battery, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So you will also get better sound and the longer battery life.
Yep, and the weight savings.
Okay, and the weight savings. And so the smaller the car, so more the weight savings are. Okay, that's it, and thank you for watching. Watch out next time, subscribe to the channel, thumbs up if you like that movie, and we will have more.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye-bye.
I pressed and say